All right. It's the Workers Club 115. Correct. It's Wilson. It's Larry. It's Gus. We last left off before vacay. JR headed out with his dad in the parking lot of a breakfast diner about what he did to his mom. He's trying to get his parents back together. The next about 50 pages is essentially WCW stuff. And it did get a little sloggy, where it's kind of like, yep, just kind of going through the motions. Then this happened. But there's some good stuff in there. I was going to, I like to keep up with Vince Russo because he says he gets blasted the most because Sportskeeda owns his podcast or whatever platforms it. So they constantly are pulling. That's what we need. Somebody own us and then blast out like little snippets of the dumb stuff we say.
I mean, that was an idea too, to like go to,
how do we get on Sportskeeda so that
WrestleSports.com or Wrestling Room? You know what I mean? One of these bullshit sites and be like, I got a ready-made podcast. If you want to fucking host it, let's do it.
Let's do it. I think we should. And then we can answer to somebody and they can say, we can get into feuds with them about, you can't say that. Russo isn't excited about. You'd think Russo would be excited about the new Netflix WWE show Unreal. You think that, that's his bread and butter, right? Pulling back the curtain. Vince Russo.
Oh, okay, yeah. What's he got? He's gonna be mad because there's no writers. There's bookers.
He's mad because, they're not really showing any behind the scenes stuff that we don't already know. And his example is, back in his day, they used to have buried alive matches. That's something you could show somebody. You're right.
What?
Already. Everything is a wrestling match. This isn't, oh, bro, we got an empty casket and then we open it back up and Taker's in the casket. They don't do anything like, oh, there's a buried alive match. Is the guy really dead under there? They don't do anything like that. You ever, as a kid, you're like, God, I wish they would explain if that guy really got buried alive. Pull back the curtain.
That period turned me out, so I don't. Turned out everybody. That was late '96. That was the fucking doldrums.
The magic's gone.
They probably will never do another buried alive match. Like that was kind of a Faker thing.
Yeah. I'm sure. I mean, they'll figure something out with the Wyatt Six. They'll do something.
Oh Lord.
And also, this is kind of a twofer, I think. The Vince Russo. He thinks that Goldberg is part of a conspiracy. When you remember, Goldberg got cut off. His retirement speech got cut off. That's why you always have to question, was that done on purpose, bro? Seriously? You're on prime time on NBC, Saturday night's main event, and you're going to screw up the timing so we can't get Goldberg's speech in? Are you going to tell me I should not hit my conspiracy theory music, bro? Which I guess he has conspiracy. What is that, the X-Files theme? Is that his conspiracy music?
No, it was Iron Man, remember? Because he was a Road Warriors mark.
That's conspiracy music that he hits when he thinks there's a conspiracy afoot?
It's Russo's music, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Well, and then I just also had Paul pulled up. He talked about his the WWE Evolution 2 show, and he just wanted you to know it was an emotional show because it wasn't that long ago. Get ready for this. When we were getting to the Performance Center and starting NXT, and I was like, why are you not being trained the same as the guys? Thank you, Paul. Paul.
Who was this about?
Paul Levesque said.
To whom?
To the media after the show, that, if you look at the arc of women's wrestling, you have to go back to when they were doing women's wrestling in the NXT Performance Center, and Paul's looking around going, why aren't you guys training like the men. She wrestling like the men. That's what we should be doing.
Oh, that was his.
And then so we have for where women's wrestling is at now. We have to thank Paul Levesque
because you guys should be trading the same.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Thank
astute.
you. Where is Dave to be in that room and go, what about Toyota? Right? Was that his gal?
Yeah.
My nanny.
He was crying in the ring during the hair versus hair match in 1995.
Yes, with everybody else in the crowd.
Dave had tears.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a piece of shit for only giving Rhea and Io 4.75.
You know, that finish, it bugged him.
That was a 4-star match at best with that bullshit.
I said 3.75. I'm with you.
Didn't watch, can't speak on it. Sounded like a 4. Justify it would have fallen the discourse.
So that match is a 1/4 star worse than Austin and Bret Hart.
Oh, jeez.
There you go. And then, of course, before we were recording, we were talking about Christy Canyon's Instagram post, and if Christy Canyon and Mick Foley are an item, or we were wildly speculating on the open or closed relationship of Mick Foley and Colette. So there it is.
Normal stuff.
Yeah, normal stuff that you talk about on a Saturday afternoon. Now, let's get into it. Let's do it. We're going to crush out this.
Her first on-screen performance was in 1984 with Ron Jeremy in Swedish Erotica 57.
57, wow.
You think Tatum Brown saw that movie?
Yes. She stated that her and Jeremy soon became close friends. Okay, great. Isn't he a rapist?
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why Mick was hanging out with her, to inform her.
Yeah.
As a representative of Rain, you know? Hey, did you know your old friend? You're not a good guy.
Ronald Jeremy.
Wow, she's still doing videos at 59.
Don't be ageist, Larry.
I'm not. It's inspiring.
There you go.
She's also a recipient of the Free Speech Coalition Lifetime Achievement Award. That sounds very important.
Lifetime achievement.
Free speech. I mean, it's basically, her and Larry Flint. And who else is a free speech legend?
Val Venus.
There you go.
Trying to think who else. I'm drawing a blank on anybody that talks about the First Amendment. Val Venus probably talks about it the most in my. Is there anybody that says they're being censored?
I don't know. Go ahead, get started.
This is the last days of Crockett. We're in 1988. He's on the phone with Cowboy Bill. Don't worry, they won't replace you as an announcer. And Jim's like, okay. And then Bill hits him with Jim, you're going to love Atlanta. It's like the New York of the South. Thank you. I wrote stupid.
New York of the South.
Be sure to check out the Coca-Cola factory while you're down there. You guys ever been? But he thinks Bill is missing the hustle and bustle of the business. You know, he sounds a little sad. And Bill goes, "It's like Sodom and Gomorrah come to life." What? Atlanta? Yeah. And Jim says, "Now that I could handle." Easy. I don't like the idea of Jim Ross's ears perking up at the Sodom and Gomorrah comparison. Oh, yeah? You don't say. And
What page are you on here?
I'm on page 150.
Okay, thank you.
Jim is going operator status just in case things go sideways. He's making inroads with Atlanta radio stations and working with the Atlanta Falcons. And he asked Bill, remember when he was going to get a percentage of Bill selling the promotion? Any word on that 5%? And Cowboy goes, well, I didn't get my $4 million, so you're not going to get your 5% either. Which I think we talked about. Dave was kind of like, there's no way it was ever going to sell for that much money. I can't remember what number he put on it, but it was drastically lower. It was like a couple rings, some of the stations. That's about that.
Yeah.
And so what does he get from Bill? He gets a check for $10,000.
That's interesting because Cornette just had a little bit. Somebody asked him the question of what did guys get when they bought a promotion? And you're right. That was pretty much the answer, was TV deals and rings, because these guys aren't even under written contracts, so they could just fucking go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you're not buying the talent. I mean, you are, but you're not really.
Yeah.
You don't have a guarantee that they're going to.
Yeah.
No, not until Kevin Nash comes onto the scene.
Yep.
And so he gives him a check for $10,000. But first, to get the check, you're going to have to come to Dallas. You're going to have to buy me dinner. And then I'll hand you the check. Okay. And he used that money to finish financing divorce number 2.
So do you think the promotion sold for $200,000?
I think Dave said 250. Somebody said I remember
so
250.
Bill wasn't too far off. 5%.
And Jim says, who was I to lecture my father on relationships? Indeed. So we're back to that. And now we begin the WCW chapter of Jim Ross's life. It's Jim Herd. You're dragging the good name of this organization down. He's at his desk shouting at JR. You can't go out into public and do whatever you like. I want to know what happened in that limo, Jim. Herd already knew. And it was about Ric Flair. Jim Herd doesn't like Ric Flair. And JR's got his dark blue Lincoln Continental. He's there in TBS. He's got health insurance for the first time. He's got corporate retirement benefits. He's making money. He's talent. He's liking the center stage where they're shooting the show. He thinks everything looks big time. He talks about Jack Petrick as a top TBS executive who had a St. Louis happy hour friend in Jim Herd. And so he goes, okay, he knows him. And he knows that Herd had worked with Sam Muchnick. And he goes, okay, so you can do the day-to-day for WCW. And so Jimmy Crockett is in a consulting role, and Jim Herd is executive vice president. And he says Herd's behavior, being gruff and unlikable, got Jim heat. JR is getting heat for Herd's behavior. And the boys do not like Jim Herd. And okay, this is where I underline something. JR says, the one thing I had learned from living with my father and working for Bill Watts was that the last thing you want to do with an alpha male is butt heads. And I just thought, So JR is a professional acquiescer. He likes to work for alphas. He kind of makes that clear. He likes to be the guy next to the alpha, and he considers himself very good at, I don't know, what skills would you need to operate under somebody that you're constantly like, this person's going to bully me or might bully me? I guess, yeah, are you just nodding along? You just get the ability to nod, keep your head down?
Yep.
It's an odd thing to kind of be like, that's my role in life. Like, I picked it up from being raised by my dad, and I carried it all the way to every boss I ever had. So there's Dusty Rhodes and there's Ric Flair, and they're crossing swords, quote unquote. They both felt they knew best, and they both felt that they were the best. Dusty wants Rick to drop the world title to Rick Steiner. And Rick does not want to do that. So whenever he's upset, he tells everyone that he's leaving the company. And what ends up happening is, no, we did not ever see Ric Flair versus Rick Steiner for the world title. At that time, we saw Ric Flair and Lex Luger at Starrcade instead, and Flair retains. Then, no blood allowed. That comes down. And Dusty's upset. Telling Dusty not to use color was like telling a master chef they couldn't use garnish. Does anybody here, of these two guys that love territory wrestling, want to talk about Dusty very whining and complaining about not being able to use blood, and blood being a very major part of his character? He cannot properly work if he can't cut his head open.
Dusty's in his mid-40s by now. He shouldn't be working anyways.
Yeah, he's...
You think you should just set the blade down? Somebody should sit him down and go, you don't need this. Set your boots down, set this down. You don't need either of them.
Remember, Bill Watts wouldn't let Bill Dundee wrestle because he booked. That's what should have happened.
Do you think Dusty did well?
I mean, why is old fat Dusty feuding with the Road Warriors? I mean, what? Because that was the thing that got him fired, was blading when the Road Warriors attacked him.
Oh yeah, they'll get to that. Oh yeah. JR never really comments on like what he thinks of the angles too much. He kind of, in the next few chapters, will go, well, I thought this should have happened, but it didn't. And really doesn't speak one way or the other. He positions himself as truly the middleman, the buffer between the boys.
Just in case.
Yeah. It's always, well, I understand why the boys are upset, and I understand why Jim Herd would say that. And, there you go. I see both sides as he sits there with his marriages crumbling. So, yes, he talks about the Road Warriors and Dusty bleeding from a spike, and Herd removes Dusty as the booker, and then soon after the talent. Let's see. So and then he comes all the way back to Jim Herd yelling at him. He wants to know what happened at the bar last night and then in the limo. And he explains that Flair walked into the bar. Jim was about to leave, but then he gets called over by Rick. And they were going to... we started talking business. He brings up George Scott, I think, is over there right now from WWF, correct? He was working for McMahon, but now he's working WCW.
Yep.
He's overseeing creative before Rick is going to be made booker. They've also got Flair, Jim Cornette, Kevin Sullivan, Eddie Gilbert, and JR. They are the committee. And he considers himself the only true office person, even though he's a talent. Jim says, better to die of use than rust. All right. And he talks about Jim Hurd would often come into his office and say, you fancy a meal on Turner? He can afford it. And they'd go out and eat and talk business. So, Flair's calling him on the other side of the bar. He tells Jim that why he's going to stick around with Ric Flair and stick around at the bars because he already is seen as the office and he's seen as Hurd's boy. So, you know, if he's sociable with the boys, that'll cut that down a little bit. So Rick tells JR, I have 2 flight attendants at the table. One for me, one for you. And JR is kind of demurring. Oh, I think I'll just go home. And Ric Flair says, you're going home to sit in your empty apartment like a cat lady, Jimbo? Not happening. So, JR is clocking that these 2 women are not interested in Ric Flair, nor him. And Ric Flair keeps kind of muttering to Jim, what do we got to do to get the odds in our favor? And so it kind of seems like alcohol seems to be the first course of action, plying them with as much alcohol as they can. JR kind of keeps trying to excuse himself. At one point, let's see. They are heading out now. The 2 ladies are walking with themselves, arm in arm, ahead of the 2 guys there, JR and Rick. And Rick's going, oh, geez, what do you think our odds are now? And JR's like, not good. They're not into it. So Rick says, I've got an idea of something that was going to put things in our favor. And they invite the 2 gals into the limousine. And then Rick turns on the light. I think in the limousine there, the overhead light. And he says, look at this. And then JR looks down because Ric Flair said, look at this. And it's his erect penis that he's pulled out. JR claims that he said, what in the name of God are you doing? Both ladies run out of the car in disgust. Then we cut back to Jim. He just whipped it out there. Jim Hurd asks. Yes, JR replies. Rick tries to explain to JR that he does this a lot, exposing himself to women. And it works about 50% of the time. And he reminds JR that that's 50% more of a chance than you had before I pulled my dick out. Hey, either of you guys ever seen How I Met Your Mother?
No.
There's an episode called, I think it's called The Naked Guy. And it's about a guy, one of the gals is seeing, and he's quite out of her league. But he reveals that how he does it is that when he's on a date, they'll excuse themselves to go to the bathroom or something, and they come back, he'll be completely naked. And he says something like 50% of the time, you know, they either leave or they're so impressed by my courage that they sleep with me. And this reminded me of it also, just Ric Flair exposing himself as one of his moves, one of his charming moves. How many people do you think it worked on?
I knew a friend. I have a guy who that was his move.
Exposing themselves. Mm-hmm. So sexually, is that's some form of sexual assault, right? If you would pull your penis.
In the cases out, where it didn't work, it is, yes.
True. I guess if somebody says, I like that you just did that.
If he's batting 1,000, it's not, and I don't know, so we'll never know.
I feel like with Rick, there was a lot of no's, and then there's a
lot
of screaming.
Like 10% at best.
Feels like it's just something he likes to do. And Jim Hurd reminds JR, hey, that's the corporate bar. They could have sued us. We work out of that hotel. Or whatever, or it's the Omni, the bar at the Omni Hotel. Turner own that? I don't know. He says, look, like, this was somehow involved in work. JR kind of starts thinking that maybe Jim just wanted to be in the limo as well. He wants to be part of Ric's depravity. What else is there? He says, JR says something that I say all the time. No matter who's running the company or where he's at, the characters backstage are always the same. Then he sees in WCW a familiar voice. He sees old Dick Murdoch. Remember Dick?
Yep. Captain Redneck.
And Dick says, "Hey, JR, look at this."
And
he reaches into his billfold. And JR writes what he thought it might be. He thought it might be a weird brand of condom.
Hey, check out this condom I got.
What a weird condom. Or that $1
condom
check.
like this.
It's got studs. Pretty cool, huh? Says here, tastes like strawberry. Want one? He also thinks it might be the $1 check. That Dick is still holding on to the $1 check and putting it in his wallet. But no, it's a membership card to the Ku Klux Klan. And Dick goes, "You ever seen one before?" And JR says, "No, I have not." And then JR writes, "That was it. No follow-up, no discussion, no recruiting. Dick just felt compelled to show me that." And then I came up with a theory that maybe, remember when Bill Watts fined him all that money? Maybe he's just behind on his dues. Bill Watts was trying to collect his dues. You ever think about that, JR? Do you think
he makes it sound like he was sad that he didn't get recruited, that he didn't get the pitch?
Yeah.
Like, at least pitch me.
Yeah. He was like, "Is this a rib or is this real? And if it's real, no."
Not saying yes, but
do you think that? I thought the Ku Klux Klan is supposed to be a secret thing. They hand out membership cards, or he's just so proud about it that he made his own and got it laminated and everything.
I've seen like historical artifacts of KKK membership cards, so yeah, that's an actual thing.
Oh, weird.
They're fucking nerds. The KKK, they're like the biggest goddamn nerds in the world.
They gotta come
They're
up
still
with like
playing dress up.
Exactly.
A bunch of grown men getting together to play dress up and talk about the minorities they hate.
And they got club cards. Here's my card.
Yeah. And they like to play quarters or whatever the hell that was in Tatum Brown. That guy with his Ku Klux Klan outfit under the floorboards. What was the name of the dad there in that one? What was his dad's name?
And then he shot himself. And then the wife shot
him.
After he revealed he was a pedophile.
Oh yeah, he beat up the dad. He almost killed the dad.
One of those rage moments.
The rage took him. God, if Tatum Brown had met Dick Murdoch, oh no. So he comes into Herd's office, or Herd comes into JR's office. He throws the format sheet on his desk and goes, "Who wrote this? The hell is this shit?" And Herd had a wrestling philosophy. There was too much talking, too many interviews. He's from St. Louis. He wants it in the ring. Okay? And then JR's takeaway is like, well, we do have good talkers, though, so we should probably have them talk. But if you're going to work with somebody on a daily basis, you have to coexist in some sort of professional, amicable, tolerable manner. So he's making changes. This is JR's life. Booking guys, Cornette, Sullivan, etc. JR, they come up with the show. Hurd sees the show. He makes changes. He gives it back to JR. First, JR's got to hear him complain about it. Then he has to take the Jim Hurd changes to the committee. Then they complain to JR about Hurd. And JR just keeps his eye on the prize. Gets it done. But because of all this chaos, he thinks one thing that should have happened didn't, and that was pulling the trigger on Sting. He thought, JR felt that Ric Flair was better than the title. He didn't need a title. That let's use the title to make somebody else and establish somebody. And Ric, as long as we take care of Ric, he'll be fine and he'll be a draw. But little does JR know, Ric Flair thinks he needs that title. He finds validation in having the world title. That's one sick puppy. JR just wants 2 drawing. He wants 2 draws. That's all he wants.
Not a bad idea, but listen,
Yeah.
Sting was never a draw.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. JR goes into why he thinks that happened.
There was
why?
a great quote, one of Tom Zink's appearances on Observer Live back in the day. He's like, Sting's on top and all the fans are dressed up like chairs.
That's funny. The little stinger.
Z-Man wants to see some zeros on that check.
I think it might have been the Ole Anderson story, because Ole's talking about Sting, and I don't know. Zink brings up, I don't know. I think Zink was mad about money, and he goes, Sting's making $700. Yeah, that's what it was. Zink's mad about money. He goes, Sting's making $750,000, and all the fans are dressed up like chairs. And Ole Anderson goes, $750,000. I'd suck cock all day long for $750,000. So get in the ring. So the man had a price.
Did Tom say
all day too? He's not stopping. That's
it wasn't even requested. It's like that thing I just
I want to take a break.
Yeah, so he's like, I can't handle it anymore, Ole. He's like, no.
I believe we're working for my money, 8 hours a day.
It's not even fun anymore, Ole. Stop. Did Tom Zank and Bret Hart ever share a locker room?
Oh, yeah. Can-Am Connection and the Hearts. I'm sure they worked.
Okay. Because when Bret was on top, because I remember Bret, it was kind of like...
Not when Bret was on top.
Because when he takes over for Hogan, he's like, but they all were very appreciative of my matches. It's like, I bet they really want to get them a little bit more money, but okay. Tom Zank's like, I'm not going to shake your hand about that match, Bret. I don't care. Let's see. JR wants to talk money. Him and Shivani. JR, he went and found out what all the other announcers for the Turner Atlanta Braves, what they're making. And then he also has the information. Tony Schiavone says to him, I make $20,000 a year.
Wait,
so
what? 20?
Yeah, that's what he says. His best year, he made $20,000.
Oh, for calling baseball games.
No, for calling wrestling.
No, there's no way.
Tony also told me his best year was at $20,000. I found out the salaries of the announcers who called the Braves game. Tony.
Okay, I take it back because we're in 1989, so yes. Tony's going to jump.
Yes, this is what's all about to happen.
Wait, $20,000 though? I mean, fucking JR was making $100,000 just to be a random office guy in Mid-South. I don't believe that.
Well, JR sits down with.
I wonder if he worked on like commission, if he got like a percentage of stations sold or something.
I don't know. Yeah. He takes over the meeting. It's him and Shivani, Petrick and Hurd. JR's like, listen here. Here are the hours we worked. Here's the ratings for the shows. The miles, the money. Plus, we have no off season. And then they go, why don't you give us some time with just Tony? because Tony's just sitting there quietly. So it's like, oh, they're gonna work Tony over. And so JR takes a lap, and JR says it was the class. He's like, oh God, did I just talk myself out of a job? Was I too in their face about like all the work that I do, and I deserve this? Like the classic wrestling paranoia kicking in again. And I was like, God damn, that paranoia that comes up over and over. Vince Russo, that's like shattered his poor brain. Wrestling paranoia. He talked all about it.
Aren't we all a little bit though?
Am I paranoid? Not in my work. Am I paranoid in life?
I get paranoid at work.
I get super paranoid at work.
Yeah.
Paranoid about what?
Just go ahead.
That
Guys.
I can be let go at any fucking moment for any.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I don't have that
reason.
Larry.
Especially, because I left being the man to now I'm just a fucking one of the crew. And I'm always like, am I the fucking weak link on the team?
Exactly.
And then there's days where I'm like, no one can do what I'm doing. And then I'm like, nah, I'm probably pretty replaceable.
Wow.
It swings.
I guess my wife talks about she'll have paranoia sometimes about,
it was bred into me. My father thought he was going to lose his job for 35 years. So maybe it's just that industry, Gus.
Oh, yeah.
And my father's got so much money saved in the bank, so rich, but always had that fear. Never enjoyed it. Yeah.
There you go.
I think it's American. It's an American principle.
Maybe. Well, Brett had it. Brett had it about Vince more than anything, and Hogan had it all the time as well. He talked about it. I don't know.
But the key is you can't show the paranoia because then, you can't act on it.
What's the wrestling thing? Like who was the first person in wrestling to betray another person? Who was the Cain and Abel or whatever? What would that be in the Bible? That started this whole thing where then everyone was like, you can't trust anybody in this business.
Who was the first double cross?
You don't say that in other sports, like or somebody goes on to
Hans Schmidt in 1937.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Toots lied to him. And then told somebody else, and then that guy was like, well, if they did lie to Toots, what shot do I have? Nobody else in other sports is as that where they're like the classic MLB paranoia.
It says 1950, Gorgeous George and Chief Don Eagle.
Did you type in who's the first?
However, there's a 1935 one between Marvelous Al Mahoney and Jim Londos, the Golden Greek.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The biggest draw of all time.
Well, JR sees Tony at a payphone on the I don't know why there's a payphone on the office floor, but I guess there is. He says he sees him at a payphone and on the office floor, and he's smiling ear to ear, and he gives him a thumbs up as JR passes. He goes into Herd's office with Petrick, and he goes, Jim, we're going to give you a 50% raise and make it a 3-year deal. And JR, they shake on it.
By the way, Tony's fired.
Yeah. Well, they have another meeting shortly thereafter, and they tell him, we're moving Tony to syndication, and Jim, you'll be on TBS. Tony's not happy. JR senses this, and he starts going, no, it doesn't really matter. So just put me in syndication and have Tony be the voice of TBS. And Herd says, you both got the same contract. You both had the same money. JR's going, oh, come on. So it doesn't, hey, it doesn't matter to me. Just put it. And he shares that, Tony and him used to share rooms and share a car. And then they finally got enough money to have rooms with a TV and a remote. And they would just both sit, one guy in their bed, another guy in his bed, just staring at the TV, clicking that remote, the luxuries. And then JR.
I wonder what they're watching on TV. Like, what's their program?
JR, Tony,
1989.
Are they murder mystery guys? Or those are kind of popular. Let's see. TV Guide, 1989. Let's see.
What are we checking?
I'm going to check out
What are
the...
Tony and JR watching in the hotel room together?
I'm going to pick a random... Let's see. Here are the covers for the TV Guide in 1989. I got some Roseanne and Bill Cosby. What to expect from your favorite shows? Roseanne is going to bump Cosby.
The top-rated programs of '89.
Yeah.
Cosby Show and Roseanne. You're correct.
Yeah.
23.1 rating for both of those. Cheers. Jesus. They're definitely not watching A Different World.
No. What about
Golden Girls, Wonder Years, 60 Minutes, Empty Nest, Monday Night Football?
Gerald McRaney and Delta Burke, the ultimate primetime love story. I like this too. The other headline: why Robert Culp is not happy with Bill Cosby. A little I Spy drama.
It's because of the hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's the hypocrisy more than anything. Faye Dunaway's TV comeback.
Were they watching Murder, She Wrote and trying to get finishes from her twists?
Yeah.
That's some good booking with that Jessica Landsberg.
The ultimate challenge. Could Billy Crystal get laughs in Moscow?
Oh boy.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Is he going to do his Sammy Davis Jr. impression?
You guys, you cats are going to love this.
Boy, today is somebody's 40th birthday in the business. You know who it is?
Dave.
40. Karrion Kross is 40 today.
Wow.
40.
Wow.
What was my rule of 30? If you don't make it by 30, you got to retire.
And you know why he looks so good is that he doesn't bump. So that's why he's saving his body.
Not punching that bump card.
You know the kind of fan that really concerns me, or you'll see a comment, when he's doing a segment, he's got his hair all flowing, and there'll be a few comments underneath the video or what have you that go, I can't believe they were shaving this guy's head. Look at that luxurious hair. Why would you not have a head of hair like that? And why would you be shaving that head? What? I'm going. I love it when my dog tries to get in. Yeah, that's concerning. I don't know. The fetishizing his hair seems odd to me.
It's not close to the oddest thing, but sure.
It's kind of maybe is parallel to remember when Paul Levesque, what was Andrade's name? He was like
Andre Cien Almas.
Yeah, when he was a luchador, was it just
shoot? And
he was like, yeah, I saw him without the mask, and I was like, why would you wear a mask? You're so handsome. It's kind of in that world where I'm like, who gives a fuck, Paul? Andrade, you know what Andrade's known for now, being so handsome.
I thought that was
Hoovy,
another Hispanic guy's gimmick, wasn't it? Angel Garza, maybe? Isn't that specifically his gimmick like 2 years ago? He had a small
to take off a mask?
No, but he was handsome. He was the handsome. Maybe Paul's got.
Yeah,
I was just thinking of when Nash said that about Hoovy. I think it was Hoovy.
Why is he under a mask?
I knew there was an older one too, because I feel like they said the same thing about Ultimo Dragon in 2003. That Stephanie thought he was handsome and they wanted to take his mask off.
So a major conversation in the Click van is, why do all these luchadors are so goddamn handsome? Why are they covering their face? Makes no sense. They could be turning heads in airports.
At 14 when he took his mask off.
Yeah, I definitely
yeah.
Jeez.
Kind of feminine, smooth features. He had a real baby face.
What do you think of Edward Scissorhands? I almost called him Edward Penis Hands. That's a different movie. Edward Scissorhands. Did you think it was a woman? I thought Michael Jackson was a woman when I was a little kid.
Oh, no, I never confused those two things. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why Edward Scissorhands and Michael Jackson are kind of going Hoovy to Edward Scissorhands to Michael Jackson. But yes, I got in an argument with my cousin about it. You know, we were watching TV at grandma's, and he was on like probably MTV or something. And I was like, who is this lady? And then my cousin said, it's not a lady, it's a guy. And I was like, no, it's got long, look at the hair. That was my counterpoint.
I could see how the hair might be confusing.
I mean, was he the most masculine guy in the world?
No, of course not. Absolutely not.
Tony Schiavone leaves. JR hears through the grapevine that Tony's left. He's gone to WWF.
Let's not pass up the picture section because
Okay.
I really love. Do you know which one I'm going to comment on?
I didn't comment on any. I know. I just looked at them all and nodded.
The one where just this random college girl gets in.
Oh yeah, I thought about. I gave that some thoughts. I didn't mean I thought about it.
Okay.
Let's see. JR says wrestling was a business of newness.
And Dr. Mike Lano is credited with one of these photos. And then his AOL address is given.
Yeah.
Lano is a famous kind of scumbag in the wrestling fan circles. I'm pretty sure like he'll come to like funerals uninvited and try to take pictures and stuff.
Oh, God, what a ghoul.
Yeah, I think Cornette and Brian Last have a whole bunch of Dr. Mike Lano stories.
Oh, man.
Not nice. But you know, it's funny because like Mick, all these wrestlers know the guys that are taking photos of them a lot.
Yep.
Keeping their contact information. I mean, that's how a lot of people got started, by going and being that guy taking pictures.
Paul was a picture guy, right? Wasn't Cornette a picture guy?
Yep.
Was Apter a picture guy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I know there's another one. Well, that Asian guy, I got confused. That Mick likes.
Yeah, like this weird sponsor guy.
Yeah.
Masa?
I can't remember his name. And I'm not going to speculate on what it is. It's just going to make me sound bad.
There's no way you would be right, but
Yoshi.
No, jeez.
Hold on. I have I'm just naming places. It is though, isn't it? See, I knew this was going to make me look bad. It's something like that. Isn't it Funaki? This isn't going to go well for me. Wrestling was a business of newness. And I wrote counterpoint, JR.
His name was Masa. His name was Masa.
There you go.
I was right.
Yeah. A Japanese super fan.
And then he ended up working in the business, right? Didn't he?
Sure.
I thought he did. I thought he had somebody. Then you said on that episode, that's that guy, that wrestler.
Only Masa, a faithful Tonto to my Kimosabi stayed behind. No, that's it. That's the last mention of him. I think you're thinking of Brett's agent.
Oh.
Remember, he started off as a fan and then was his agent before long.
Yeah. Or was that Hogan? Or did Brett also have an agent that was a
Brett.
fan?
I think that was Carl DeMarco, no? Or it was another guy.
Oh, yeah. Carl DeMarco
was
was
a thing with Hogan, too, though.
Yeah,
like
Hogan also had a fan.
Something.
And he knew his sister or something like that.
What a bunch of weirdos.
I know. Everyone acts like it's a really hard business to crack. I guess if you just show up to an arena with a camera snap a few shots. You're in. You made it. And then, as JR would tell you, you just kind of stick around. And if somebody goes, "Can you give me some cigars from down the street?" You go, "Yep." And then look, you've got a job now. You're the cigar guy, and just keep showing up.
Want to be the alpha's right hand.
What kind of politics did JR play to make sure that his spot was always the guy? The guy next to the guy. Did he ever sniff out? That's why he likes working with the Suns. Who else did we read who likes working with the Suns? Oh, Vince is upset. Vince Russo is obsessed with the Suns. Yeah. I'm sure the Suns, JR, he likes hanging out with me, and man, he talks to me, and my dad don't talk to me. That's Joel Watts, I guess.
I'm Joel Watts. I make the video packages.
Dad, what do you think about this edit?
I've never seen a titty.
What does Bill Watts think about Joel's editing skills?
As fine young man.
The things he does with the tape to tape. Wow. I'm so proud. JR would be in shambles over the current state of affairs in wrestling and how fans kind of see things, because he thinks wrestling is newness. He has not been informed that no, every wrestler needs to have a forever job. That's why there's no paranoia anymore, right? In wrestling. Why would they ever release me? I'm going to be here forever. Maybe it's changed now with TKO, but
there's a lot more job stability than there was.
Did you see that? Did you see that in the news? TKO has said, WWE, you're not doing our severance package. And that did not go over well with the company, the WWE company. Gordon Solie was a role model for me as an announcer, JR says. He got forced out in 1985 when Crockett took over. Tony Schiavone and Jimmy's brother David were going to be the new voices. Gordon Solie got forced. Let's just say it like that. Gordon Solie got forced out for David Crockett.
This is a goddamn piece of business. No question about it.
Gordon's drinking was an issue. JR's, he's like, I'm going to create a role for Gordon Solie in WCW. He's going to be Walter Cronkite. We'll call him the Dean of Wrestling Broadcasters. And Gordon Solie's a mark. He loves it. He loves it when people are walking up and going, "Hey, Dean. Hey, there's Dean." What they're going to do is they're going to write 2 minutes of commentary for Gordon Solie to record, to do a little piece on. And then they'll put that in the show. And then Gordon Solie has a job. JR feels good. Gordon Solie has money to buy alcohol.
Jesus.
Everyone's happy. JR, I like this reference because especially this. When did this book come out? Oh, let's see. When did this? It was not that long ago. 2016, 2017, something like that.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, 2017. Did you guys, any of you you guys listen to Paul Harvey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Paul Harvey guy.
Yes. JR wants these Gordon Solie bits. They're inspired by Paul Harvey. And he even throws in and that's the rest of the story. Oh, and now, sorry, I said that. And now, the rest of the story. There's somebody I used to get confused with, the guy on 60 Minutes, Andy Rooney.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, they have the same kind of timbre.
No, Rooney had like an annoyingly kind of nasal voice. Harvey had a fucking classic radio.
I guess he would be more in line with what was the guy, the Pretty Home Companion guy? That
Garrison
pervert.
Keillor.
Yes, that pervert, Garrison Keillor.
Yep. Noted pervert.
I guess so. Yeah, Paul Harvey had more of a warble to his voice. maybe in my mind, because I think of Andy Rooney and his kind of, I've got something to say here.
Mhm.
Let's see. Gordon lived in Tampa. They're going to fly him into Atlanta. And he is a million miler. So he flies first class. He drinks free on first class. And he's also a lifetime member of the Crown Room. So he's drinking before he gets on the flight. So he shows up to CNN Center, and JR says he'd been, quote, overserved. Keith Mitchell is there. He calls JR in his office. We got a problem. You got to come down here. It's Gordy. So he shows up, and Gordon's there, drunk as hell. And JR's like, hey, we've got a new direction. We're going to do something different. And Gordon goes, what? His speech was slurred, his eyes watery, somewhat glazed over. And the big idea, JR's like, the big idea is we're going to do it in the morning. Because he doesn't want to be like, why are you drunk? God damn it. This is your job. We're paying you. He doesn't want to scold the guy. So they let him sleep it off. Although he does see him. He says he watches him disappear into the Omni Hotel bar. We rolled tape at 9 a.m. Gordon was sober. Gordon had an issue with the booze. It wasn't a well-kept secret. His health was deteriorating. And his best friend and his life partner, his wife Smokey, was very ill too. And GR kind of has this thing where I want to walk up to the guy and be like, thank you for being who you are and steering me into this business. And but he's just like, I hope this job's enough just to have, maybe he sees that as a thank you. So then JR's like, man, I'm going to have him be the color guy for me. We'll get him back in the booth. Problem is, JR thinks he's putting this on Gordon. He thinks Gordon is apprehensive about doing it, not because he's uncomfortable being a color guy. It's because he doesn't want to go 4+ hours without a drink. So they get an igloo cooler. And they fill it with orange juice and vodka. And Gordon just sits there. I never heard this pouring going on. It must have been happening. They edited it out later, where he stops to pour, or he's kind of going, "Yeah, I'm listening, JR. Keep talking." Gordon sits all night drinking screwdrivers.
This is my dream job, just getting the cooler, being able to just...
Yeah. Fill in the blanks, as JR says. JR is steering the ship. You just pop in with
vertical suplex.
Yeah. They don't get any meaner and nastier than that man right there. And then you hear like the clinking of glass and like some ice being shoveled in, and then just
Did we take a short break?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, this is the time where we can talk about JR recently actually announcing, because this whole thing was about how, JR's of the belief that announcers, don't put them out to pasture. He wanted to find a spot for Gordon Solie. He liked Gordon Solie. He was not going to be one that go, maybe we shouldn't have Gordon on TV anymore. And he's now JR is on the other side of that, and he's being shuffled out there. Tony Khan also probably read this book and agrees with JR. We got to find something for JR to do.
I was going to compare it to Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse too
is
also
now been taken off. His role has diminished because of his views.
Yeah. He didn't do any of the Saturday Night's main event.
He didn't call a match. He did one intro segment, and that was it.
God, he would have probably elevated that Gunther. I did not watch it, but he would have been cackling with glee if Goldberg was just laughing at Gunther's chops. Yep. Jesse Ventura. What does Jesse Ventura think of Goldberg? I'm trying to even think of how Jesse Ventura would call. How would he have called it? He would have been like, would he have kind of crapped on Goldberg like spear, jackknife, pin? Okay, like what's next?
No,
or he went into it.
They're not getting paid by the minute.
Yeah, he would have said that. Yeah, no, not good. Yeah. Man. But I think of announcers and Goldberg, and it's just how Bobby the Brain Heenan was just gaga for the guy.
Bobby rolls. I will have no Bobby slander.
I'm not saying. I just always kind of shook me that Bobby it was coming across the screen how much he's in love with this guy.
Goldberg was the fucking man. He showed up. He kicked ass.
I think it helped him.
Didn't have to do much more.
If somebody's selling you like that,
especially Heenan, who usually makes jokes at everything expense, and with Goldberg, it was deadly serious.
I think it probably. I personally, as growing up, I never thought Tony Schiavone had any credibility. I don't know why. And then he became kind of a. Do you guys remember when he on the internet back then? It would be like he thinks everything's the greatest. That was his like meme thing.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Which I had a twinge of that watching that All In show, and why is Larry meowing?
That's kind of his AEW. I like Tony, but his AEW role is very much. This is so much fun, guys. This is great. Isn't this great?
I don't mind that, but he did on an All In. I can't remember what match or what moment, but he did have a thing where he said, "That's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life," and it just rang false.
That was
at that moment.
Dustin winning the TNT title.
Oh, okay, well, and I just was like, "Oh, we're there. Tony's hit WCW." You know, I'm sure he's enjoying it much more than he enjoyed his WCW run, but he kind of fell into that. This is so great. I watched Nitro back then, and I was always looking for him to be talking like that, and I never ever really heard it as much as the internet always. But JR was out there on All In, and the minute Don Callis came out, I knew that was going to fuck JR up, and he will spend the entire match trying to address what Don's saying, and Don is egging him on. I don't know if he's doing it to be mean.
I think he
must
knows
know
what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing, but I don't like. He must know that it derails JR, and JR you would think would be aware that it derails him. Or do they think they're doing some kind of like old school banter? Because it doesn't come across like that. It just comes across like JR gets distracted and tongue tied a bit.
It should be JR and a play-by-play guy. That's it.
Yeah. What ends up with the AEW stuff happening is you have Excalibur, Taz, Tony, and Don all trying to prod JR into saying something and being like, you know how you would talk about this? Like, boy, this matchup is intense, isn't it, JR? And then JR's got to go, yeah, the intensity is off the charts. And it's like, okay, that's all we're going to get out of him. What else do we got to talk about? I don't remember one thing he said during the Hangman Mox match. Maybe, yeah, something like about the intensity. Maybe he dropped a both these men want it. I think he did get to go put in a thing of like they were doing something, death match, something, and he went, this is sick. Did he even give us one of those? This is sick. Every time now, and Dave Meltzer's talked about it before with Brian Alvarez. They both hate Glass, and every time Glass comes into play, they have to spend time on Observer Radio talking about how unpredictable Glass is, which is just funny. It's in my brain forever to describe Glass as unpredictable, and in the context of a match. Yes, glass could have an unpredictable consequence. But now, so they pour anytime now somebody pours out glass. It's just tattooed in my brain. I think that's
Glass has an unpredictable quality.
that's unpredictable right there. Dave's getting nervous. I picture him getting sweaty.
Dr. Ian Malcolm should study glass breaking.
Yeah. And then Brian is a worker, and it's like Brian. Sometimes when he talks about these guys, it's like you don't think that they're working, Brian. You know, he really thinks it's all like whatever the gimmick would be. You know, would Brian Alvarez ever have done you know how that got popular, putting thumbtacks or putting stuff in people's mouths?
Mm-hmm.
Brian Alvarez, did he ever get it with that? Like he got out right before that took off.
Yeah, he was trained by a pro.
Buddy Wayne.
Buddy Wayne. And
he would have been like, Buddy Wayne would have never let me do that.
That backyard match was his last one, right? The Brian and Vinny match. Do you remember that?
Well, Brian has unretired a couple times. He wrestled Orange Cassidy, and he's wrestled, I think, Danhausen.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't. And it's Dave. Is this like the Dave of people getting dropped on their head? You know, where he's constantly wringing his hands about like. Dave will wring his hands about Kota Ibushi dropping himself on his head, and then Kota Ibushi, when the cameras are off, is doing bumps on a chair just to do them. After immediately coming back from injury, and then putting a chair on the mat and taking a flat back on it.
From breaking his own ankles.
And David's like, this guy won't be able to wrestle if he keeps taking those he's landing on the tops of his shoulders and his neck. It's bad for you. I guess that's more of an Ospreay and Okada, but he's also said about Okada. I'm just in a Dave injuries, of his eye on the business, his observing of the business. I'm spiraling out. I'm in a state, and I'm thinking about Dave and Glass and Real Glass and Jack Perry. CM Punk, did he ever do anything? Okay, he's a guy that he
asked it. What are we talking about?
I don't know. I told you I'm spiraling.
Make a new wrestling podcast, AEW Talk, and you can rant about.
Hey, JR's in AEW. We're reading JR. I was so stoned I couldn't command my own hands to function. Make sure to say I'm legally stoned.
Where is that?
Page 173.
Oh, you're skipping? Okay.
No, it's at the end.
You skipped the whole Steamboat chapter, no?
Oh, shoot. It's so... I just had flipped my thumb. It's like one page. And so, I just kind of... Yeah. I just flipped over. Sorry.
There's not much going on.
Yeah, it's Ricky. George Scott likes Ricky Steamboat. So does JR. It's
weird because JR's like, we think he still had something left. He was 35.
He does kind of talk him like he's done. And it's 1989. Like WrestleMania 3 wasn't that long ago.
It's 2 years ago.
And it's about to be the Chi-Town stuff with Flair. And it's like, I guess he's got something in the tank.
I'm sorry, who's in the front row of that match?
Guy thinking about Glass.
High-fiving Brad Muster of the Chicago Bears.
Man, Dave's life is just something.
Could someone explain to me about... So he was moving to whatever territory was hot, right?
He wasn't moving to Chicago. There. He just took a trip.
I know, but then he'll be like, and then at the height of World Class, I'm in Dallas.
It was just Dallas.
And at the height of Dusty, he's living in Texas at the height of World Class. He's living in Florida at the height of Dusty.
Did he live in Florida?
Yeah, he said he's lived in Florida when that was.
I didn't know that. I just thought it was Dallas.
I'm under the impression he's lived in Florida. He's lived in Dallas, and then he also was traveling Chicago. He's just always... He's at the Cow Palace.
If that's the top territory, that's not a dumb thing to do.
But is it because of his newsletter? Because I don't know if he has a newsletter yet. Then in 19, well, I guess he's getting it going. When did it start? 88, 86?
No, like way before, like early 80s, I think.
Yeah.
JR does have a little line here. The booking committee doesn't do Steamboat any favors by putting his wife and son with him in the storyline. His wife really wanted it to happen, but I didn't want Ricky to do it. That's it. JR doesn't think the family needs to be a part of it, and he says that his wife is pushing for it.
I'm
Woman's
sorry.
place is in the home.
Hang on, this quote though. Nothing came back from Meltzer, Florida. I think you're inventing things, but I searched Meltzer, Dallas, and I get this post from 7 years ago on Squared Circle, and it's a Meltzer quote. People get mad at me for saying this, but Kota Ibushi did a match with a stuffed animal in Dallas that was better than the majority of the matches in WWE. If I was Stephen Amell and there was one guy on the show I wanted to work with, it would be Kota Ibushi.
Yeah.
What?
This is why Ole, who's going to come up here soon, as Gus and on that car ride. This is why Ole has a problem with Dave. If Dave was booking, he's putting Amell with Kota because the match will be better.
Well, no, in Dave's world, Mel is begging. Put me with the worst guy.
That too. He's thinking, yeah, if I had his ear, I'd be whispering, Kota. You want to work with Kota? And then think about Kota and Amell. Who did he end up wrestling? Christopher Daniels on that show.
Yeah.
I mean, is it better? I mean, it's better on Kota's end.
Who remembers that? I'm surprised you even remember that.
I was there. That's why.
2018? What was that show?
All in.
Oh, the original. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm glad Kota was in the match that he was in. Wasn't he in the Golden Lover or with the Young Bucks in the main event? I think it was that Young Bucks, Kota versus Rey Mysterio, and two other guys. Gus, do you remember who the two other guys were in that main event? I think it was I don't know. One of the luchadors I don't even hear about it. Laredo Kid, maybe? Is it him? And then in that Steamboat chapter, he talks about Terry Funk, and some wrestlers are good in the booth. Some wrestlers are bad. Terry Funk was good. And then he does something at the end, and we've read a lot about in our books about this. And I know a lot of it is hindsight, and they just kind of play the game. And this is a little bit of what JR is doing, where he goes, I felt like we had a better in-ring product than the WWF. But, he's sitting in the booking committee, and I just don't think we could become number one. I don't know. And everyone has this little brother syndrome. And it's like, did they have that at the time when they were in it? This little brother thing, even when they're closer than it is now. Now, yes, in 2017 or whenever they write these books.
It wasn't close. 89 was a terrible year for business.
I'm saying that
Dusty really killed Crockett.
Yeah. I'm saying from when they write it years later, and WWE, of course, they're like, of course, because they're like, of course, that's how it happened. But they kind of, then they go back, and when they write themselves in the past, they're like, even then they have a little brother syndrome of like, at least WWF is gonna, I don't know.
JR knows the business numbers. I mean, WrestleMania 5 was one of the biggest buy rates ever, and they're doing like 800 people at spot shows.
Okay. I would just personally, if I was in WCW and somebody was like, kind of going, look at those guys over there, I'd be like, well, let's not think that we're the shit over like to do over here. Just try to, it seems like you get that sometimes.
But it's not their fault though.
Yeah,
it was the production, the fucking just management. I mean, look at an 89 Superstars against whatever WCW's 89 show was. Just how dark it was, and still just kind of amateurish. I mean, I like a ton of it, and the in-ring work is awesome, but just the look to a kid. superstars look so fucking clean, brightly lit, everything runs smooth. You got Gordon Solie hosting segments on WCW TV.
Gordon's drinking screwdrivers under the desk.
I always heard growing up that WCW's production was better. And I never thought that. I always preferred WWF's production. And
it depends on what year you're talking, though.
I don't. I just
in 96, 97, WCW might have been better because they really freshened up the look.
See, and maybe it's just the color of this. You know what I mean? The deeper colors on a WWF production back then. If you flipped over to Raw, Nitro always had kind of a cooler color. Like things weren't. I don't want to call them like light blue or gray, but you know what I'm saying, washed out almost a little bit.
Okay.
Where if you went over on WWF, everything seemed to be a
brighter. You're right. His blues were
maybe because of Raw. There's red. It's the arenas were kind of.
See, that's after when I'm talking though, because
I know. Yeah, I'm talking about Nitro. I always heard Nitro was a little bit better produced, or even maybe like a Saturday night, whatever TBS. I'm watching. Is it? It kind of seems like maybe a lesser production. Maybe I was just listening to the wrong people at the time.
I think it was better from 96 to 97. I mean, not long.
Yeah.
But
then on that little brother, it even persists today, where guys go, well, I don't want to, that's the main company. It's like they both pay really crazy well. Why do you have this weird big brother little I don't want to. They're both wrestling companies. I guess I was, if I'm in WCW and what year are we in? 1989. I'm like, what's the difference? They both places have had Dick Murdoch, right? How are we that much lesser? Has Jimmy Hart's been in both of our I know Jimmy Hart. It's not that classy up there.
Well, yeah, Atlanta's just the New York of the South.
Yeah, so he's paying. I would have been pounding the table. We're the goddamn New York of the South. So he's stoned. Now we're back. He's stoned, and I like this too. I've never when people talk about Starcades and stuff. He'll have on all these. He'll have the little tagline for the show. So he's like, "I'm getting ready for Starcade Future Shock." I've never heard it. Like when people are like, what's your favorite, I love Starcade Future Shock. Or do you call it by the year, Starcade 89, Starcade?
They didn't do that every year. It was just a stupid.
They call it Starcade Future Shock? Like when people talk about it? I don't know.
Well, no one outside the company called it that. It was Starcade 89.
Yeah, JR's putting it in there so maybe he wrote it down. We call it.
That was his idea.
Yes.
Future Shock. You're proud of that one.
JR's getting his 4th bridge in a month. He's paying the dentist $10,000 up front to get that perfect TV smile. It's a comedy bit. He can't speak. His mouth is numb. A DEA agent comes in. Apparently his dentist is selling scripts. And JR's like, wait a minute, he is giving me a lot of scripts. And he shows the DEA agent all these unfilled pain medication prescriptions. Let's see. Oh, JR does do a thing where he goes, he lets you know how his mind works, where he wants to not take the meeting at first. He doesn't know what's going on. So he's wandering around the halls of the CNN Center, and he decides to carry a single piece of paper in his hand with the idea that it would make people that he's busy. He's on his way to do something, so they won't stop him. And he can just keep kind of walking around the building. Which if you're trying to draw out time, just let people stop you and talk to you. So he's just aimlessly holding one single sheet. If anything, more people probably were like, where's he going? Let's talk about the pictures. That's why now I have the pictures. It's the one picture of Jim Ross doing a wrestling face, as he calls it, where he's kind of growling at the camera with his buddies. They're all in leisure suits, and they are doing MLB umpiring school.
Now, why didn't he talk about that?
I don't know. He says he met Tim McClellan, the umpire. I don't if that name to me as a baseball, I feel like he did not have a great rep. I could be confusing with any number of many umpires that you look up their rep is not good. He got a picture of JR in his noggin in a tuxedo with a red bow tie. And he shouts out Ed Bashara's men's store in Tulsa.
Is that the one his mom made an account at?
It had to been, right? It's a picture of him holding a plaque. And if you wanted to know if JR was a guy, you get the collar of the dress shirts and you get the buttons and the collar buttons down onto him. Some people do it, some people don't. He does it. He's buttoning that collar down. He's got a TV commentator award from the Houston, Texas convention. That's what it says. Got a picture of him and Dr. Death. This is very markish by JR. Dr. Death was number 76 for the OU Sooners. Number 1 in many hearts. Picture of him and Bill at some kind of, I guess, like one of those where everybody in the NWA sits around, I guess. I don't know. The Stinger, JR, the Fabulous Freebirds, him and Ric Flair, him and Dusty, him and Teddy Long and Mean Mark and Dan Spivey, him sitting on the set of WCW Saturday Night, custom made suit thanks to Uncle Ted. JR's got a horrible taste in ties, I have to say. That tie is ugly. Dusty dressed in a tuxedo blazer and a pair of jeans and also wearing a ball cap. This Tony Schiavone picture, I mean, that hair, holy cow.
Oh, when he had the blonde hair, that was bizarre.
Yeah, blonde mullet.
That was unfortunate.
Gordon Solie. I'm assuming Gordon Solie's drunk in this picture. This is
no question about it.
Mick Foley. We got Jim Crockett, Dusty Rhodes, Jerry Lawler. This very, very dashing picture of JR walking, kind of very smirking, and with a cigarette between his fingers. He likes this picture. He put it in there.
And he does still smoke, so he's a fucking liar.
Because thankfully I no longer. Well, he doesn't smoke. He smokes the wacky tobacco.
No, he smokes cigarettes. He chain smokes on his podcast.
Oh, does he?
Right on camera, he'll be lighting up.
Well, there you go. Well, at this time in 2017, I thankfully no longer smoke, so he'd quit. Him and Joel, him and Sting, well, not all creative concepts are hits, he writes. Him with WrestleMania 9, his the way he's dressed for the Attitude Era. Or that, just a picture of his like Jumbotron, which says like "you," and he's just like, there's no caption. It just says, photo by Dr. Mike Lano. Briscoe, J.D. Dillon, and Bob Cottle and Tony Schiavone, and then there's The Rock and Jan and Bruce Pritchard and Mark Henry. Looks like The Rock's been drinking. They've all probably been drinking. Kurt Angle with JR. And then here's the picture Larry was talking about. They're at an OU game. And it's stone cold looking, he's doing his I'm taking a picture face. But he also is holding an eaten chicken drumstick. So it's just bone. It's just bone and then the gnarled bit at the end. So this is, I mean, he's posing. This gal walked. Who is this? It's and then JR, and then a young blonde lady between them, which he just describes as a lovely Oklahoma Sooners football fan.
Where is she? I want to know.
But he says photos courtesy of the author. So JR was like, "Can I have a copy?"
I didn't
know. So either he's related, he doesn't want to talk about like that's his daughter or his who knows, I don't know, or granddaughter, I don't know who it is.
No, that's a fan.
It's a fan. So JR was like, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" To the fan.
No, she asked for a picture, but he kept it. That's all.
Then he's him posing with the. Now here's a question I have for you guys. So he's
it could have come from social media.
Yeah, true. At that time, at that point, this is JR, but he's in his WWE Attitude Era outfit. And he's posing with the PWI plaque, right?
A WWE sweater vest, you mean?
Yes. His uniform after a certain point. The WWF do not, and have, to my recollection, never really was like, yeah, let's make a big deal of those PWI awards. You know, how kind of Tony kind of like, yeah, let's do photo shoots. So JR on his own time and dime went to the JCPenney's photo studio, you know, with the plaque and took the picture. I mean, he says credited of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, but
Bill probably took the picture for the magazine.
So,
because they would show the award, they would you would see those pictures in the magazines.
I just like these wearing I don't know. I feel like, I mean, JR, if you're taking a picture, it's fake, right? I don't know. Are these awards fake? I guess they're real because he's performing and they're saying, good job on your performance.
Awards. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He's so stoic in this picture too, but he's not smiling. He's trying to ride the line of I know this is bullshit, but also clearly I'm in this
borderline Bell's palsy at this point.
I don't know. Picture of him at a Big 12 championship game, and then a picture of him and Jan. I don't think a woman could love her more than my angel Jan loved me. So he what? You calling it?
Yeah, I got a heart out at 5.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay.
Well, wait till the next time, boy. Howdy. Building Sting, Paul Heyman, Ole Anderson. Is that whetting your appetite, Larry? Ole Anderson and JR. He's got a new alpha male.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Like Ole.
All right. Bye-bye. It's Wilson again. That was fun. I bet it was the best episode ever. You know what you can do to help the workers out? Rate, review, all that good stuff on whatever app you're listening to. Tell us how much you love us. If you want to contact us, it's theworkersclubshow at gmail.com. We got a YouTube, The Workers Club Podcast, a Blue Sky, theworkersclub.org, and we have a Discord where the invite link is left in various places. I'm sure you can find it. That's it. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Bye.
smile, and love each other.